Sup, guys? So, if you're listening to this podcast, chances are that you noticed its name, the Colossal Kaiju podcast, which is us. And what are we exactly? Well, if you know what kaiju is, i.e. you've seen Pacific Rim, you would know that it's a giant monster like Godzilla, Rodan, or Mothra. So, you're probably wondering why exactly we've made a podcast about this. The truth is, we haven't. What this podcast is we're promoting a game. Well, we're also fan promoting it really because this is in no way official, so we're going to be as unprofessional as we want. This game is Colossal Kaiju Combat, and we are all avid members of its forums, design forums, which are very open and transparent. I am your humble host, Sharky. With me today is...
Gothic Servant.
Mothman.
With this said, now you're wondering, what exactly is this mysterious video game, Colossal Kaiju Combat? Well, that's what we're here to discuss with all of you wonderful viewers, unless you guys suck, in which case you're not wonderful. But I'm sure you're not, you're all great. So, let's...
And we just about alienated 50% of our audience.
I mean, you know. That's sure they're fine.
Anyway, it is a... Well, it's not even a game yet, but we're trying to create a franchise around this, the idea of making sets of basically a giant kaiju fighting brawler. If you've ever played the Godzilla games for the PS2, Xbox, GameCube, and Wii, you'll know what we're talking about.
So this game is being developed by Sunstone Games, which is a nice little indie game company stationed in where exactly? I forgot.
Eugene,
Oregon.
Washington. Oregon? Oh, I'm wrong.
Oregon.
Okay. I just thought it was Washington for a second.
Okay,
no, not Washington. Oregon. They are stationed in Oregon. We don't work with them. And I'm looking at the homepage here to give you guys all a synopsis of what's going on. So here are the bullets. This game will come with 1 to 4 player battles in awesome environments, frequent releases of new content, monsters, stories, and game modes, which can be mixed and matched with your existing contest, or purchased as standalone products. Our first release will feature kaiju concepts submitted by our backers. Check out the reward tiers, because this game originally started as a Kickstarter. Now, good news, the Kickstarter it's come and gone, we've gotten the money we need. They are in production already and shooting for around late this year, early next year release of the beta, I believe.
Yes.
So moving on to the bullet list. Future releases will feature monsters such as Gamera, Ultraman, Godzilla, Zone Fighter, Mr. Stay Puft, Cthulhu, and plenty more originals. Online matchmaking and tournament play, LAN support 2, DRM-free PC release, console release date to be announced based on funding, dynamic grappling, melee, ranged weapons, flight, burrowing, teleportation, dizzies, air combos, OTG hits, reversals, parries, super moves, and more. So with all those things, obviously now you're really interested, aren't you? So I suppose we should go elaborate on each of those points, shouldn't we, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously 1 to 4 player battles makes enough sense. And once again, if you've played any of the Godzilla games, you kind of know what you're getting in terms of players available at a time. Comparisons have most been made to Godzilla Save the Earth, so that's probably the closest game as to how this will be. And
so if you haven't played it, go out and play it. It's easily one of the best brawlers for the PS2.
I would say, it's one of the best. I mean, Final Fantasy is also, not Final Fantasy, Soul Calibur. I get those two confused all the time. That one's pretty good too. But this is also...
So if you want to see what Kaiju Combat will probably look like, you should probably either go play the game yourself or look up some YouTube videos of Save the Earth.
Yeah, that'll give you an idea of what we're shooting for, both graphically and functionally. An important thing to mention is that graphics are not a hugely important priority for Sunstone Games at this moment, and I don't think it ever will be. It's something that they've said. Their goal is to make the fighting mechanics as great as possible, and as this is an indie game, they're trying to reserve as much funding from that would go to graphics and any other company and put it towards putting in more playable characters, more environments, things of that nature that you can actually use.
Yeah.
So that stated, Oh, what, you're saying something?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, because graphics are pretty to look at and all, but if you don't have a good game, the graphics mean nothing.
I know.
Yes.
I mean, that's how Minecraft started. Notch got angry at somebody saying that graphics were all that mattered in the game, so he made a game with intentionally terrible graphics, and that game is now Minecraft and makes a bajillion dollars every year.
Yep.
And now he lives in a mansion of pure gold somewhere in Sweden. But that's another topic. Frequent releases of new content, monsters, stories, and game modes, which can be mixed and matched with your existing content or purchased as standalone products. So the goal that I've heard is they're hoping once they get the franchise started to have maybe 3 releases a year, is what I heard once, maybe 2 releases, I don't remember.
Simon said that he's pushing for 5, but I think it'll be most likely that we'll get either 2 or 3 releases a year.
Yeah, and we'll get to who exactly Simon is in a second once we go over all of these little bullets. But we're keeping him in the dark for now. He's hiding in the shadows, watching, waiting. So yeah, each new release will have new monsters to play as, new stories, new game modes, which I'm kind of about because, frankly, on the one hand, we're getting new stuff, but on the other hand, it'll make the old ones kind of obsolete. You know what I mean, right?
Somewhat.
Like, if the first release doesn't come with a destruction mode, but the second one does, then I would be, normally, in any other game, I'd be angry, because I wouldn't be able to play that destruction mode with characters from the original release. But what makes this game so unique is you can actually, as the comparison that has been made is that's like Legos. You can't buy a Lego set that has Batman and the Hulk in the same set. But you can buy separate sets, one with Batman and one with the Hulk, take them home, build them, and just put them together on your own. So that's kind of how this is going to work. You're going to be able to take content from each game and just kind of plug it into the next. So they'll all be...
And you don't have to buy, like, a certain one to buy another one. It's not like DLC. So,
yeah, they're
if
all
you want to buy
standalone releases.
Yep.
So that's a really big thing, and an important factor is to this game. So that features into one of these next bullets. I'm going to skip the next one to get to the one that matters right now, which is licensed releases. Future releases will feature monsters such as Gamera, Ultraman, etc. Well,
I think we should say hopefully.
Hopefully. That's a big word that has been omitted here. It should be hopefully feature.
Because like, this stuff is not confirmed, so we're definitely not saying, okay, we're definitely gonna have Gamera, we're definitely gonna have Godzilla. We don't know. We don't know if like the game will eventually have them. We hope that they will, but it's not completely sure yet. So please don't misquote us and say that, oh, it's totally gonna have Gamera and Godzilla, because that's still a shot in the dark at the moment.
Yeah, I remember once, Simon, who we will learn more about now, Grand Lord Simon, just posted that either Gamera or Ultraman, he didn't say which, but we are in talks to possibly in the future get one. Really, the company behind them is just waiting on us to put out an official release so that they can make a final decision. That's what I heard. That was some time ago, though. That was a couple months. As for Godzilla, I hate to burst the bubble, but Godzilla probably won't be for a good, couple years. Because Legendary is coming out with their movie, and I know that Toho has plans to make a game with Legendary.
Yeah, so Godzilla is probably, if all goes well, Godzilla will probably be the last major thing we will get our hands on, because he's the big one.
To be fair, he is the biggest of the major things, so, I mean, end with a bang, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cthulhu is free property, though, so we could get him at any point. It's just, I don't know about Stay Puft or Zone Fighter. I was never into Ultraman or Zone Fighter, so I'm not the guy to talk about that. Mr. Stay Puft, I imagine, would probably be quite expensive, because he's American. But,
Yeah, so we are planning on trying to, well, we not, since this is all, we're just fans just doing a podcast, but Sunstone is planning on hopefully getting licensed monsters that we can play as.
So yeah. Now, if we don't have licensed monsters, what are we going to do? Well, that's what this bullet that I skipped discusses. Our first release will feature kaiju concepts submitted by the fans, basically. So here's the really cool thing about CKC. If you join the Sunstone Games community forums, you are entirely eligible to create a kaiju concept, submit it to a relatively long process we will explain in a second, and you could foreseeably get it into the game. Now, you've got a few things that you gotta do to do that, but it's possible. You can do that. All of us
slim chance, but it is possible.
That road. Well, it's slim depending on what you do. So here's the road that you gotta do. And you start off and you make your monster. You make a thread for it, obviously. A design thread. There are various different sections they have to have for it to, be legitimate. You need to have an origin, range combat, melee combat, grappling, energy system, things like that. All these things that make it an official looking document. With that stated, then you have to get support for your monster, and then there will be a sponsorship round, which our next one is in February, right?
Yes, I believe so.
In February, I've heard February, but I can't remember. The last one was in August, so there seems to be plenty of time in between for you to rally support and get your monster well known and become a well-known member of the forums yourself. If you want to find them yourself, just look up Sunstone Games community forums, or just look up Kaiju Combat. You'll find it either way. So what sponsorship gets you is people basically they pay $10 and they buy you a raffle ticket. That's how it worked last time. And it's essentially a raffle ticket, and at the end of the sponsorship, they pull the raffle, and if your name gets picked, you move on to the next stage. And obviously, getting more raffle tickets increases your chances. And your chances aren't bad even if you only get one raffle ticket. There are plenty of people who won sponsorship this last round who only got one. You have
it's all up to chance.
Simon did the math, and he said that the average person with only one ticket has like a 40% chance of winning, because it's not just one winner. There's 42 winners last round. That might change the next round, but last round was 42.
And hopefully, to get voted into the game itself, only I think this time they said about maybe 3. I think will be voted into the game itself. The rest will just stay as cards.
Okay, but we need to mention is once you win sponsorship, you are part of the card game, which is going on along with the video game, which is already out, by the way. You can buy it in the Sunstone Games store if you want. It's right there. I'm checking the prices right now. 1 second. The combat deck, which is what you need to start the game, is $15, and you can get sets that come with kaiju in them for $4 each, and each comes with 8 random cards.
Each of those 8 random cards are completely fan-made and were voted on by people on the forums. So that's really cool, if I have to say so.
Yeah, all of us here have a completed sponsorship. Myself, Gothic, and Mothman. We've all gotten through that hoop, and really, as the way I see it, that's one of the hardest, because that's the money talking and not just people talking.
Yes.
So it gets a little harder to rally support that way. So after you become a card, after you're sponsored, you have to get voted to progenitor status, and this will be a vote by design team members. And if you get to progenitor status, you get a page on the official public design team wiki, which you can also check out, guys. And you can see everything we have to show you about this game so far. You can see all the type of concepts.
You get an excellent picture by the well-known comic book artist Matt Frank, who is known as a Kaiju Samurai on DeviantArt, if you want to check him out.
And he's also, I forgot his name, Smashzilla, right? On Tumblr?
Spankzilla.
Spankzilla. There we go.
Spankzilla, yeah.
Great name. So yeah, once you get to progenitor status, you get awesome official design art by Matt Frank. You get a page on the wiki, and you have a collaborative process with Matt and Simon to discuss how your kaiju will work in the game. So at that point, that's when the most changes happen. When your kaiju originally may change entirely, or maybe it will stay the same. It really depends. They have to account for what's come before and what may come after. They need to keep in mind some of the more official decisions about the game that your kaiju has to do.
And this has been shown in many of the designs. Some of them have barely changed at all, and some of them have vastly changed. Some of them have been completely reworked from their original design. So it's all up to what you and Simon and Matt agree on.
Yeah. And then after your progenitor status, it's smooth sailing. All you have to do is wait till we get another roster is made. Well, another roster vote begins once we're making another game, and then just someone. So this is why it's important to have friends, guys, because somebody's going to be campaigning your kaiju for you. So you want to have a good friend who will do that, and they'll be campaigning why it's good for your kaiju to get into the game. There's going to be a vote. The exact roster size at present, our current official release roster is 11 kaiju. That's subject to change. I'm hoping we can get
15 technically. 15 if you're counting the Kaiju Land battles.
Yes.
Oh, but we'll get to that later. I'm not.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
Although I will say that I think 15 is a fantastic number to have in future releases. Ultimately, I would like 18. That'd be amazing. But we'll get to that in a moment. So that explains how the process is. So remember, guys, you can make your own kaiju on this, and it can get into the game. So if you have an awesome design or an idea, submit that, because you never know. Maybe people will love it. And I mean, I've had plenty of ideas that I thought were not good and ended up being loved. So there you go. And all the other stuff is kind of basic, techie stuff, online matchmaking and tournament play, obviously. DRM free PC release. So right now the release, we're looking for Steam. We're on Steam Greenlight right now. At the moment of this recording, we are on Greenlight. So make sure that you go give us the green light.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Give us a thumbs up.
To the game. And once we pass green light, we'll be able to release our game. Well, their game, I suppose. And console release, there was... we did have intentions to release onto the Ouya, but those are no longer in the works. So
yes, those plans fell through. No console releases, no PS4, PS3, Xbox.
Not as of yet.
Not as of yet, until...
I heard Simon said once, and I just read it earlier in a second here, somewhere on here he said that they're thinking a possible console release is likely 12 months after the release of our first, official release.
But so that isn't set in stone, so...
That is not set in stone at all. After that, just all the cool stuff that you're going to be able to do in combat, grappling, melee, ranged weapons. Once again, if you want more ideas on what the combat will be like, take a look at Godzilla Save the Earth. That's very accurate as to what we're going to be looking at as far as we know. There is a trailer out that's pre-alpha footage, so it's not exactly polished. There's quite a few problems with it, obviously. But it still gives you an idea of how the combat works. And it gets the gist across. So now you've heard us say their names a couple times now. Let's talk about who's developing this game. There's two main men, obviously. Matt Frank, who we've discussed before. He's going to be the guy doing the official concept art. If you go to the main page, you can see some of his art. And if you go to the wiki, all of the kaiju have official designs by him. So that's, fairly self-explanatory. Matt Frank is a god among men. Our next Lord and Savior is Simon Strange, who has an amazing name, by the way. That's just awesome. And
he died for our sins.
He died for your sins. So, Simon Strange is a video game developer who's worked on a lot of games, namely all of the Godzilla titles, so he knows what he's doing. He worked on Rampage Total Destruction for the Wii. If you didn't play that, pretty fun game. Prince of Persia, Tomb Raider, Army of Two, Tony Hawk, and the Deadliest Warrior fighting games. So he has he's fairly well versed in how to make a video game. And of course there's also all the other wonderful people at Sunstone Games who are faceless and we don't know their name. But so we just like to quick shout out to those guys for being awesome and stuff.
And this could not be possible.
So now that you know a bit about what they are the no, I totally had a metaphor and I lost it, so yeah, never mind.
Okay.
Now that you know a bit about what the game is, how it works, and who's making it, you should know a bit about what games will be releasing. So there's going to be 2 releases. Hopefully, we're shooting for a beta in later this year. As the time of this recording, it is already almost December, so more than likely it will be early next year.
Next year, hopefully.
It'd be amazing if we got it in December, but I have my personal doubts that we will. But, I mean, who knows? I'm thinking we're probably going to see a beta around January, February. So the first release will be free, and it's called Kaiju Land Battles. We are making this in, what's the word I'm looking for?
Spigot.
No, not Spigot. That's the name of the engine. They're making it in collaboration with a Facebook video game called Kaiju Land. We, among ourselves, are not hugely well versed in what this is. We haven't played it. We probably should. But, I mean, it's there. Go look it up. It's gonna have 4 kaiju and the city, completely free release. So, you'll be able to play.
It won't have much on it.
Won't have too much. Like I just said, 4 playable characters and 1 map. Actually, maybe 2, but I'm pretty sure it's just 1.
Yeah, pretty sure it's just 1.
Yeah.
But it will give you a taste of what's gonna happen.
It's the hook, and then once you bite the hook, you fall down the rabbit hole into what is Fall of Nemesis, which is the official first commercial release. At present, we're looking at $20 is the projected cost for it, so it's not too expensive for all you guys with tight belts or tight money bags. It's going to have 11 playable characters, all of which are fan-designed, all original, except for 2, which we'll discuss when we get to them, because after this episode we'll be spending individual episodes discussing each of the kaiju, probably 2 at a time is what we're thinking at the moment of this recording.
Possibly.
Maybe more if we have to. We'll figure that out we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. That said, Fall of Nemesis will have a complete storyline, which I'm not sure how many details we can reveal, due to our design team status.
So, let's just not reveal anything at all, but let's just say that the story mode is ambitious, to say the least.
It is quite ambitious, but if this works, which I think it will, it's gonna be a really cool new way fighting games have story modes. It's gonna be a great way to bring in, add a replayability factor to it. So like I said, 11 characters, I think 3 or 4 maps. Of course, you can always just mix and match with the Kaiju Land Battles map, and their characters if you want. So, and after that we have about, I want to say like 30 some other monsters that have yet to be assigned to a game and are just kind of waiting in the wings, which we will also be discussing once we finish discussing all the Fall of Nemesis release.
Yes.
So now that you've listened to us drone on about this game for, I don't know, half an hour almost, I want to say, you're probably wondering how can I contribute? Well, of course, go help us on Greenlight, join the forums, but importantly, a big thing is if you go to the store, you can become a design team member. You can become a part of this game's future, essentially. You can buy the design team membership if you want, just solo. That's $5.
Only $5.
So you pay $5. Only $5, guys. And you get design team membership. That is a steal.
I believe you also get the same deal. I believe you also get the same deal if you pre-order the game, which is currently available right now, but we don't know if it'll stay the same forever. So you may want to hop on that deal while you can. It's only $20 to pre-order Fall of Nemesis.
And you can pre-order every Kaiju Combat release ever made
for $7.
No, I'm looking at it right now. It's $100. The price has gone up. So,
never mind. Don't mind me.
Quick FYI, the money's gone up. The sponsorship thing is still there. They haven't gotten rid of that. Get on that, Sunstone. And you can also buy figures of the individual kaiju from release 1. There are, I believe, 9 of the 11 kaiju here. I think we're only missing 2. Let me check. No, we're missing 3, so 8, I'm sorry. 8 characters that are in the game that you can buy as figures. As of supporting, it is entirely possible you may be able to get more in the future, once they have those puzzles complete. The figures can range in price from $30 to, I believe, $75 is the most expensive. Because they are made all to scale, 2-inch and 4-inch. So the majority of them, if you don't like the price of the 4-inch figure, you can just buy it smaller for like half the price, more or less. Except for, I think there's only one character here that you have.
Dragon Lotus.
Yeah, but
there's only one more.
But we'll get to them later as each kaiju. So that said, you guys go support this game. Continue listening to this podcast as we will be having updates and keeping an eye up. New kaiju will be released optimistically every week. We'll have a new kaiju per week on something called Monster Monday. Follow Colossal Kaiju Combat on Facebook and get updated to all the cool stuff that goes down with this game. And I don't know, any last words, guys?
Yes, if you want to have if you hopefully want to see have a great giant monster brawler on the PC, then please support this game. Go on the forums, mingle, and just have fun. Anything to say, Mothman?
Well, I want to say that the community is a different one. I've been to many different websites where people would constantly troll you. There were always these bad apples. And I've never really been happy until I came across Sunstone Games the message boards there at Sunstone Games. So if you come over, you're not going to be run off. You will be welcomed.
Yes.
We just ask that you do the same and that you respect us, and you will be perfectly accepted here.
Come into our sheep.
That sounded kind of threatening, but okay.
Yes, you will join us. But that said, I think that's about it for this podcast, guys. Next time, we will be discussing the Kaiju Land Battles Kaiju, each individually. We're not entirely sure how many we're going to do in one episode at this moment, but we're going to do a few. I'm Sharky, they were Gothic and Mothman, and we are signing off.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.